Very excited.
Me too.
Well, hello out there in Maya TV land. I am one of your hosts, Nina Childs, and I am here today with a very special guest, someone I'm very excited and honored to talk to today. He is an actor, he is a writer, he's a director, he's a producer, and a man that is making a lot of wonderful things happen in the inspirational film world for the kingdom. Please help me in welcoming John Luksetich today.
Congratulations, you said it correctly.
Did I say it right?
Yes, you get a
John
soda.
Luksetich, right?
Yes.
You've got such a great last name. What's the origin?
It's Croatian. Yeah.
Croatian. I know a lot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my father figures is Croatian.
Oh, no way.
So you would think I would have easier time pronouncing your name.
Oh, it's a hard name.
It is, but it's very unique.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's Russian or it's Polish or something like that because they itch on the end. We're all itches.
You're all interested. So, are you? Were you born in Croatia? Or you?
No, my father and his father and all their lineage goes back. My mom's German Irish. So,
Ah, nice. Okay. So, you know what? I always like to start my interviews by, just kind of letting the viewers at home know a little bit more about you, where you're from, things of that nature. So, where are you from?
I'm from Dubuque, Iowa. It's in the Midwest. One of 8 children. I was least likely to do anything artistic because I was in sports and in school, scholastics.
What kind of sports did you play in Iowa?
I was a football wrestler. Wrestling was the main one in track and field. So I did those. And then my sisters are ones that were creative in theater and acting and everything. So I was not supposed to be in this field.
So when you say you're one of 8, where did you fall in that age?
Middle, I was number 5.
Number 5, okay. That's a different place to be.
I was a rebel. I got in trouble too much.
How many boys, how many girls?
4 and 4.
Oh, wow. That's perfect. I think about Iowa and I think, there are no black people there.
I was friends with the only black family in the city, along with the only Asian family and the only Hispanic family.
Well, there you go.
I was already destined to be intercultural because that's the way I was. I felt comfortable.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So we've gotten a little bit about you, where you're from. We did get to speak with Randy Kent.
Yes.
About 2 weeks ago. And he talked about a film venture that you guys did together that I thought was so intriguing. Just everything about it, from the storyline to the lead actress to the behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
To how it was shot. So Blood Tulips, what was your role in that and what was your experience shooting
Well,
that?
we were partners in producing and directing, although Randy did most of that. And then I played a lead role as the I guess you would call him the Jack the Ripper character. It was about human trafficking and about some of the prejudices against Jewish people. So it had a good thought for it. It was a good cause. But the lady who did it wanted to make it a serious film. And Raina kept looking at each other the whole way through and says, this is going to be a comedy. And so towards the end of the film, she told us, well, the next film we're going to do is a comedy. And Rainey said, what do you think this is?
A comedy about sex trafficking.
Well, it was a comedy because it was like this parody on, it's like Young Frankenstein. It was so odd. It was just not something you expect. Because she's 70 years old and her sister's supposed to be a twin, ended up being her sister was 30, and they communicated through telepathy like this, blinking their eyes, and they'd be talking. So the audience was just laughing so much, throughout the film that it became this hit at the horror festival.
Really?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm so intrigued to see it. I don't know, where can we view it? Can we view this
Well, it's
yet? Or?
coming out, I believe it's July 1st, Randy told me. So we're with Twin Engines going to be taken out there. So it's a dedication to her because this was like her big film, and Randy and I feel she passed away, but we feel great that somehow we can honor her for the fact that she really wanted to have a successful film herself.
I mean, but I'm just like, when Randy was here, we didn't talk about it being a comedy. I mean, now I want to see it because it's like, how do you make sex trafficking funny?
Think of Shaun of the Dead.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Because I mean,
they made
yeah.
zombieism a comedy.
They did.
So, and it's
which is a far cry from sex trafficking, but
well, it's
I'm
still,
intrigued.
it addresses the issue, but we have to have a little bit of levity, or we're going to be depressed all the time. And it still has a positive message.
Or you're going to drown with the circumstances that
Yes.
you're working with as far
Exactly.
as casting. And
Yeah.
so you guys shot in the red light district. What was that like? 'Cause you can't film there.
Well, you sure you can. You just have to know how to hide your camera.
Well, you can't legally film there.
Of course, that never stopped us.
Right.
We filmed in, that was interesting because the producer didn't know we're filming. And I had a camera like this and it looked like it was off, and I had a cover on it, and Randy had one, they had a GoPro and stuff, and we just had it going.
You guys are filming with nanny cams and cell phones.
I had like a C3 Ti, and we just pressed this and just walk around like this. And
So you did some DP work too,
yeah,
in addition to acting.
yeah. And then in addition to it, we had to do a chase scene in a tulip field. No tulip fields except for there was this garden, this place that you pay to get into. So we're sitting there, I'm chasing her with a knife through the tulips, and people are thinking it's some kind of acting thing, you know, for the park was putting it on.
Oh, they're putting on a show for us,
Yes.
and they're clapping, and
Yeah, and they're all gathered around there, and we're supposed to be filming from a dream sequence, and we're like, they don't know that this is.
and we have to get these people out of the shot. We got to edit them out.
We had to get it quickly done because the security was going to come over soon too.
I have to see this film before you leave. I need to know where I can see this because my
Yeah.
intrigue is like at an all-time high.
Oh, it's
so,
funny.
but being that you're a multi-hyphenate, like so many of us in this business are, we write, we direct, we produce.
Right.
There's always one thing that you want to do more than anything else, or one thing that has your passion more than anything
Right.
else. What is that for you?
You know, and that's a good question. I always tell people it's directing and acting and writing. I would say all three of them are pretty dang close. Writing because, and also I feel I will say this, God inspired. Everything in this is inspired by God. But directing because someone needs to lead, and leadership does not mean something that you want to take. It's something you feel you have to, because as a leader, it's not just the fact that you are that, but the fact is when things go wrong, it's always your fault. If the camera makes a mistake, the sound guy, whatever, it's your fault. And that's where people don't realize leading is not easy to do. And so like Randy and I are leaders when we direct, you know, and co-directing. And acting is a blessing. I love doing it. Acting is just, you get a chance to try to make something real from your own real life. If I don't call it acting, I call it realtor. So you're not an actor, because a realtor makes it real. An actor is trying to pretend. We're not trying to pretend.
You're real. Oh, that's cool. I've never heard that before. But you're such a sweet guy. How did you pull off the villain?
I had to think of scenarios because I have a daughter with Down syndrome. So when I play a bad guy, which I've been called several times to do in other films when I was doing acting, I usually think of someone kidnapping my daughter. She has special needs. And so someone did that and took my daughter and was doing something. I could get into that role where I'd say, okay, I have no feeling. Now I am going to do whatever I have to do to get her back. So if I take that on as a persona as the bad guy, I have a rationale for it. Like Magneto in X-Men, you saw his background in World War II when he's in the Nazis. You understand why he did what he did. It made sense because he was tortured and everything. That's why he doesn't trust humans. So I have to take that same persona in order to understand, like, what I've been a hitman, several films. I played mafia boss. I played outlaw cowboy. I don't know. I just get those roles.
And you can only do that if you're coming from a place of love.
Yes.
Because love can drive you to vengeance. Love can drive you to rage.
The people I care about the most. Yeah. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, speaking of your daughter, let's get into that. But before we get into your daughter and Out of the Box,
Okay.
let's talk about your start. Like, how did you, being a kid from Iowa, not being the artsy kid in the family, fall into this career?
No, I fell into it. I can't say I've had dreams my whole life of being a director and an actor. That wasn't it. I mean, I did a Super 8 film when I was a leader in a youth club when I did the YMCA, and we did it just because I wanted to have these kids have something to do. Super 8 in a video, and we did a remake of Coward of the County in Poltergeist. And then I started writing scripts in my 20s, and we had one that got represented in Hollywood for 2 years, and we almost got it picked up, Ugly Shoes, and that didn't happen. Then I got married, and that all went aside. And then I did cable TV to help out an alternative health doctor that helped me get better. And so we did that for 15 years, so funding dried up. So that was my experience of interviewing people that were trying to make a difference in this
What
world.
were you doing on cable TV? Was it
I was doing, it was called Imagine, and it was people like alternative health, alternative science. It was, Area 51, conspiracies, you name it. We had, Joe Rogan. Well, before Joe Rogan, there was like Art Bell, and there was Michael Norrie. Some people will know them. They're famous people who talk about conspiracies and stuff. So I had people talking about time travel. I had people talking about the creation of HIV. I had people talking about all these things that we hear about conspiracies today. Those are people I was talking back then, the weather modification. We had a guy that had all the research.
all the stuff that we know to be fact now?
Yes, MK
That
Ultra.
back then, you sounded like a crazy person.
We had a survivor from MK Ultra, this poor lady, and she talked about all the mind control stuff. And so that was back
I just
then.
watched a really interesting documentary on MK Ultra survivors and deliverance.
Yes.
Talk
Yes.
about that off camera.
No, we'll talk about it, but that's a great one, because we did a film on that called Shadow the Monarch, and it was about a guy that was dedicated to my father, and it was kind of like Born Identity, with a guy, the only way to stay calm was by looking at butterflies, and he could go back to a 7-year-old innocent state. He was able to survive the program and get out and be homeless and survive. And so then they
because he was fragmented from all of the
Yes,
abuse
yes.
and the programming, and
But then he learned how to control it, and then he became their worst nightmare because now he knew everything, and he knew how he could stop them. And so it was a really good story because you think he's this innocent person, and he is innocent, except for what they did.
and you know what? I'm going to share a documentary with you after this because those people, it's their time now
Yes.
to come forward and share their stories
Yes.
about what's really going on. The Marine Kingdom, all these weird things
Yes.
that people don't want to talk about and don't want to discuss that are really happening and that are keeping us, circumvent from really accessing,
What's really important.
what's really important.
We talk about it, it's faith, God, and no matter what religion we talk about, but it just is that faith in something better, bigger than us,
Yeah,
for sure.
and all those things matter. Oh my goodness, you are amazing, John.
You too.
I
Thank you.
am so enjoying speaking with you. I appreciate you being here with us today. So, you started late.
Yeah.
And I love that because Hollywood is so ageist.
Yeah.
They kind of try to make you feel like if you haven't already gotten your first picture deal by 25 or
Yeah.
got a star in your first picture by 20, that it's over for you. But like I always say, we need people of all ages,
Yeah.
shapes, races, and denominations to tell
Exactly.
stories and
Yes, we
reach
do.
people.
Yeah. I can say honestly that this will be for people that my age or whatever age you are in life. I don't care if you're young or old. I was 49 years old. I was towards the end of my educational career and was acting, but never thought about making a film. And my friend said to me, well, what do you want to do before the end of your life? I want to make the film that we wrote in our 20s. And my friend had a stroke, the one that we wrote it with. So I kind of want to do a dedication, but I want to make this film. And so went ahead. I had a number of people say, well, aren't you too old? And I go, have you ever done a feature film? And I go, no. Have you ever done a short film? And I go, no.
But have you ever heard of Martin Scorsese?
Yeah.
Who's in his 80s doing his best work as a filmmaker?
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon?
Yeah.
Getting off of his mafia track and telling this story.
Yeah, and we all are called at different times in our life. I think being older made it easier for me because then you're not seeking fame and fortune, you're doing it for the art. So it's more like I'm going to do this film. And just to give you an idea how you can do things with little, I had only $2,000 to make a feature in 17 locations. We had, and this was God bless, he really helped me because we had to get a casino. And after calling a number of places, I ended up getting one for free. And then we got same thing with, we had Cal Worthington Ford let us use one of their cars for free we needed in the scene. Same thing with Porsche, Circle Porsche did that. So these are all miracles that happened in that film because I wouldn't have the money to get the production value we got. So.
You shot a feature film for $2,000.
Yeah. And then it was edited for about $8,000. My daughter's film is really special to me because it was $1,500 and every location was donated. And I was told I couldn't do it. People thought it was a student film. You can see it out on Prime now and Tubi TV and 8 other places. It's called Different Eye. And basically every location, Santa Monica Pier donated. The hospital in
Santa Monica Pier.
Yeah. 6 hours we filmed there for free because I told them the situation why we're doing it. And so they said if it's a charity, we're giving money away to charity to the film if it makes money. So, it's for a cause for special needs. She'd never starred in a film. She's always, in theater, she's put in the back because she has limited speech as a Down syndrome girl. So my challenge for my ex-wife was to put her in a film, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. And she was the lead actor. And the surprising thing, as she started doing it, everybody that's on that film had background in special needs. Even though they're actors, they also had background special needs. So her speech improved during the making of the film. She got better. She felt at home. So then Randy came on board and we did another film with her called Loose Ends Down. But I met him in my second film and God bless her.
That's the, so, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm crying.
I
I'm
know,
crying,
me
I'm
too.
crying, I'm crying.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about your production company, Out of the Box Studios, but now that you've kind of like
I have to get out.
let your daughter out of the box.
Yeah, I know.
You're doing a really special project where she is playing an assassin recruit.
Yeah.
With special needs.
Yeah. She's the first ever Down syndrome girl hit woman.
And it's so special to me. I have 2 kids with autism, and being a part of this special needs community and dealing with what we deal with our kids,
Right.
and all of the limits and labels that get put on them. Seeing how you guys are putting people with special needs at the forefront. Let's talk about Out of the Box.
Yeah.
Was it Productions, Studios?
Yeah.
Out of,
There's no box
out of the
studios.
Box. There's no box.
There is no box.
There is no box.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I stand
Yeah.
corrected. There's no box.
No, it's okay.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. It's a studio that I pitched to Randy talking about it. We had a meeting about a year ago. We had about 50 filmmakers here. We have about 6 people now involved in it, different affiliations. And the goal is to bring a group of filmmakers together that want to do feel-good films. It doesn't matter the genre, but the genre is not as important as the fact that you leave the film feeling better than when you came in, and that you have hope or you have inspiration or you feel faith, you know. And so that's the goal of every film, is to have something positive. And every film will donate to a charity of the producer's choice. You keep all your proceeds. We just want to work together as a group, so we appear as a studio. And so when you know there is no box studio film, you know it's going to be something that you can feel good about if you go watch. You know, and we have 17 criteria we want people to follow that are all about common decency towards each other. And I think number one, I told you before, we have 17. Number one is God, family, film, and keep it in that order. So it's God, family, friends, and film. Please make sure that that's the order you want.
This is your priority when you come to set.
Yes, make sure you realize, because sometimes we get caught up and remember it's just a film. Denzel Washington said at Bent's one time, he says, "You think I'm a hero by making a film? What about someone going to war? What about someone who's taking care of their family, you know, and they have very little money? Those are heroes." So, you know, we need to keep it in perspective. You know?
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so excited to learn more about There Is No Box.
Yeah.
I think that you guys are doing really important work in regards to, you know, making sure that people are represented. People that are not, you know, people who are marginalized are represented. I think a lot of times in America, when we think of marginalized people, we immediately go to people who have different lifestyles, like the LGBTQIA plus community, you know, and things of that nature. But nobody thinks about the special needs community and how marginalized they are, and how amazing they are.
Oh, and I want to give you, with your permission, we had almost all the Lakewood Special Olympics students that were with Maria, her friends. They're all in the film. They come to rescue her and the hitmen from the bad guys, and they pour her into the elevator and into the door.
They're like the Goonies.
Oh, yeah, they're like the Goonies.
They're like the Goonies.
Some of these guys are 6'5", 6'6", like Maria's best
They're
friend.
always big.
Big, 6'6",
strong.
3 pounds. And so you see these actors who are in good shape, but they dwarf compared to these special needs kids. And these kids are like, we had to tell them, please don't really hit them. Because, you know, they're doing fight scenes to rescue. And we said, they're trying to learn how to pull their punches. But they told me it was their dream come true, that they got to be in a film and got to be the hero instead of being rescued, you know. So that's what we wanted.
And what's so crazy is that, you know, for those of us who deal with people with special needs, we know they're the heroes in our lives.
Exactly.
It's a very personal thing.
They teach you patience. We think like sometimes we're taking care of them. Sometimes
they're taking care of us.
Oh, God.
For sure. With my situation, my kids are definitely taking care of me.
Oh, same here. You know, I had a heart attack recently, and I swear having to meet with my daughter 3 days a week has made me feel better, because I needed that. I needed to have her around because I was struggling. You know,
you had the near-death experience with your heart attack.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I had one when I was in my 30s, and also the heart attack also. But in my 30s, I had a chronic fatigue fibromyalgia, and that's when I got into the TV thing. But I had a visitation from what I remember was an angel, and it was telling me, because I was really scared. I went through 8 doctors. I was not getting better. I was worried about my life. I had a special needs child to take care of, and the visitation, I felt at peace. It was the first time I felt like I could live or die. It didn't matter. It was okay. I was at peace, and that's rare. And then after that, it told me 3 things were going to happen. 1 was I met a doctor that helped me out. 2, I started a program. And 3, I learned about meditation and prayer in a way that I had not been before. And all 3 of those things brought me back to where I started feeling like I was okay again. So.
That's amazing. And now, I always want to ask, with the little bit of time we have left, really quickly, what is a dream collaboration for you, and what is next? Like, what can we look for? Because I'm going to stalk you.
Yeah.
I'm going to stalk your life.
Oh,
I want to be involved with out of the There Is No Box. And I really want to know everything that you guys got going on.
Dream is hard to say, but I guess the ones I feel that stand up for the little guy the most, I guess Mel Gibson would be one, because he's been through the ringer with all the negative things said about him, and yet he still comes through and does
with Passion of the Christ.
Yeah,
and he's doing another one.
He's doing another one, Resurrection, and you know, that's one. And then you see people that are doing things. Shia LaBeouf did one recently with Down syndrome child, and I was really happy to see that. So it's like
Peanut butter
Falcon.
Falcon.
So there's people like that, but I think Mel would be great because I have a feeling deep down I think he'd be a good person to work with because I think his passion. He seems like he's very more humble than
Mel
people
is
realize.
brilliant. I think he's misunderstood.
A lot, and I think that anybody that goes through a spiritual journey is going to be misunderstood.
Yeah,
We're fallible.
and I think that when you are a celebrity and you're in the public eye, people want to judge you based on your snapshots. But it's like, you know, you're not famous. If we could look into your life, I'm sure there have been periods of times when you've done things that you're not proud of, or you've had lows. But everybody's not watching you, so we can't judge it.
It's,
You know?
the question is not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up, like Sloan said, and you keep going.
And that's the perfect way to end this interview. With that being said, please let our viewers know where they can find you online.
You can check out our website's going to be up very shortly. We're very proud of it. There is No Box Studios, and our features TV series is coming out at Black Box Theater near you or theaters called Cafe in the Void, which will probably bring hopefully tears to your eyes, and it was something, and also laugh and so forth. It's something we were very proud of that we feel will make a difference in your life. It's made a difference in our life, and God bless you.
God bless you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. There is no box, not out of the box. There is no box. And thank you again for joining us today, John.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
I just thought when Randy told me about your daughter doing the assassin
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this is